Welcome to News at the Beach. In this week's episode, local beach conditions, space news, local events. We announced the winner of our skateboard raffle, and special beach and safety tips to get you ready for summer. Come for the news, stay for the fun.
Hey everybody, we're coming back at you again with another new and exciting episode of News at the Beach. Our sponsors today, Bruno's Pizza, Mike's Seaside Automotive, Green Gloves Garden and Landscaping, and Long Doggers Restaurant. Today is Sunday, April 21st, and we want to give a big shout out to Matt at Aerial Science. That's the guy who flies the plane down the beach. He flew our banner last week with our first giveaway ever, a mint penny skateboard. And now to Jessica to announce the winner.
Well, I've got all of our new subscribers in here. Thank you for that, by the way. And we're gonna give away that new mint penny skateboard, and our winner is Adrian Myers. Adrian Myers. Please comment below. We're excited to meet him or her. Hopefully they're local and we can get a picture with them for you guys.
Yeah, and if we gotta figure out shipping, we'll get it to you one way or the other. Well, as you can see out there, we've got great waves today, and we've had great waves every day we made this show. That's why we're not gonna stop doing it. We got high temperatures this week in the upper 80s to the low 90s. Summer's almost here. We also have little or no rain predicted for those April flowers. We have a high tide this week, starting you off at 7:30 a.m. for all you walkers and sea turtle watchers.
He's Bruce, he's the man around town. He doesn't say much, but he makes lots of sounds.
And now to Jessica with the Week in Space.
Thanks, Jeff. We had 3 successful launches off the Space Coast last week. That calendar's proven to be pretty accurate.
That's right, that's 2 weeks in a row where her calendar was 100% accurate with updates included.
Let's talk about next week's calendar. We've got 2 launches next week. First one's gonna be on Monday, April 22nd at 6:40 p.m.
Tomorrow.
And the second one on Friday, April 26th at 6:40. Both of these are SpaceX Starlink launches.
Woo! Right. And now for what to do that's new in Cocoa Beach. A reminder, April 27th and 28th, we have the Melbourne Arts Show at Wickham Park.
That same weekend, we also have the Space Coast Songwriter Fest. That's gonna be every afternoon at Tin Whiskey, Coconuts, and Beach Shack.
The Tin Whiskey is located in Cocoa Village, with Coconuts and the Beach Shack being in downtown Cocoa Beach. Look for 10 to 20 local songwriters, and they're gonna be performing throughout those venues. We'd like to tell you some of the highlights coming to the King Center in the future, starting with April 26th at 7 p.m. The Space Coast Ballet Company presents the Celebration of Dance.
And then we have Vicki Lawrence and Mama, as seen on the Carol Burnett Show. That'll be on May 5th at 7 p.m. Vinton probably wants a front row ticket.
Now, Mama.
Then at the Surfside Playhouse in Cocoa Beach, Florida, we have the Odd Couple playing. That's going to be playing April 26th to May 12th, and this, oddly enough, is an all-female version.
I'd love to participate.
Now we're going to go a little bit north to Sled's You Pick Farms. They have beautiful sunflowers right now ready to be picked and cut. They're located in Mims and have weekend hours. Sunflowers are $2 a piece, and they take cash only. Remember to bring your own scissors.
And if you got nothing else going on, go to the beach. Waves are awesome. Check out some surfing from us.
Just leads this helping hand. And if young Nigel says he's happy, he must be happy, he must be happy, he must be happy in his world.
rip those waves.
Thanks, Jeff. Now let's take it to Wyatt for his Waves to Wave Wellness.
Help me, Wyatt! Help! Help me, Wyatt! I can't swim!
Keep cool. Use your head. Don't lose it. All right, stay calm. I need you to start scissor kicking, get a good rhythm.
Okay.
Now cup your hands and start making a figure 8 motion. There you
I'm
go.
treading water.
There you go.
I'm treading water. You're a real American lifesaver. Thank you, Lifeguard Wyatt.
Awesome. This was a perfect opportunity to give him a few swimming tips, but always swim in front of a lifeguard.
Those are some great tips from the pool, Wyatt. Thank you.
Nerve-wracking. Whew. Thank God he's all right.
He's Bruce. He's our sound effects king. He makes lots of sounds, but you won't hear him sing.
The waves have been great. We're just trying to add new features to the show. This week, we added a GoPro camera. You probably didn't even know Jessica could surf so good. You'll be finding out more surprises like that about us in the future. And now, for a Learn to Surf moment with Nicole and Chris. I'm Jeff Kennedy, Space Surfer, joining you with another episode of Learn to Surf. And this week we have basic surfing instruction. I'm standing here with a beginner surfboard. These are very similar to a boogie board in that they're soft. So if they do hit you, they're not as bad as a regular board. And they kind of get you familiarized with the board, being out in the waves and tussling around, that type of nature. Now these boards do have fins. These fins are a little bit sharp, so we have to be careful of those. The back of the board is referred to as the tail. The front of the board is referred to as the nose. The two sides of the boards are referred to as the rails. Now the bottom is slick, and that's so the board can go fast across the water. The top of the board, we put a wax coating on it, and that just gives it a little bit of grip. We're gonna kind of get started with the conditions for the day. It's a really good day of surfing, glassy waves. This is just the end of April, getting into May. This is really Learn to Surf season in Cocoa Beach. Here with me today, I have Chris and Nicole. Now these two are beginners. They've never surfed before, is that correct?
Yeah,
And how old are you, Nicole?
I'm 30.
Nicole is 30, and Chris?
35.
35. So these aren't just kids. We're teaching adult surfing instruction today. So before we get out in the water, I want to show you a basic pop-up, how to get up on the surfboard so that when you get out in the water, you're actually able to do what I'm about to show you. Ideally, when you're learning, you want someone to actually get you on the wave so you can focus on the actual getting up on the surfboard. If you're trying to focus on paddling, catching the wave, and all the other aspects of surfing while you're trying to stand up and ride the wave, you're really going to have a difficult time. This is the first reason why I recommend getting a surf instructor. Now when you go to stand on the surfboard, there's two main stances. Either stance is appropriate. This is what they call a goofy foot stance. It doesn't mean that you're goofy, it just means that your left foot happens to be in the back and your right foot is forward. There's also a second stance which is called regular foot. This is the preferred stance of right-handed people, whereas goofy foot is the stance of generally a left-handed person. Now, either way is fine, but what you're trying to do is make sure that you don't stand like so. This is what they call a tiki position. If you stand like so, the board's going to be really wobbly as you're going to try to balance side to side, and the board is relatively narrow. Ideally, what we want to do is treat the board like a balance beam, utilizing the length of the surfboard. So we want to use the front foot as our gas pedal, the back foot as our brakes, and when we ride the wave, we want to make sure we look where we're going, okay? And that's really important to know. So for example, if you're worried about running someone over when you surf, never look at the person. If you look at the person, chances are you're going to go directly toward that person and hit them. My suggestion, look away from the person and chances are you'll drive away from them. We want to make sure that we have a nice triangulated stance on the surfboard, keeping our weight low, using our knees as a spring or like a shock absorber, if you will, okay? Because the wave is going to bounce us around out there, but we're going to try to, stay on the wave as long as possible. If you stand up on the wave, most times when people first get on a wave, they like to be up and like, whee, I'm surfing, and their knees are locked, and they stand up for a moment and they fall over. But we're gonna kind of work into a real surfing stance, which is more knees bent, all of your weight on your front foot, all on the gas pedal, looking forward, leaning forward, going forward. So starting out, when you're getting on the board, you're not gonna be able to really see the back of the board, but you can feel it with your toes. We call this toes at the tail. All right, make sure that you can just feel the back edge of the board. This is good so that when I push you onto the wave, you don't do what they call a nosedive. You know, it looks really cool from the shore. You kind of go up and over the front end. We've all done it before, but we'll try to avoid that at all costs today. Likewise, your hands are very important. If you grab forward on the surfboard like so, you're more than likely going to do what they call a paw into the wave, which is also going to push your weight too far forward and translate into that nosedive we were discussing. So back here, toes at the tail. Make sure you get your hands back here. I like to call it the chicken wing. Make sure you have a nice chicken wing hand. That way you know your hands are nice and center positioned on the board, toes touching the tail. What you want to do is stand up on those toes, utilizing your toes, even using the spring in the toes to allow yourself to jump forward, all right? The same as you would do in a push-up. From here, you can push up just like so, all right? You can also do it if you're off your knees if preferred, but I always recommend doing the standard push-up as it allows for the most length between you and the board. Now, if you go out by yourself, you're gonna need to paddle. Nice long strokes across the sides of the board. Make sure you don't do any of this. Go to jump up, get your hands back with that nice chicken wing. Stand up on those tippy toes, push straight up. Jump into that front foot position, leaning your weight over your front foot. Straight like this, riding all the way to the beach. Okay, and we're gonna start out, toes to the tail, standing up on those toes, got your chicken wings, very good. Gonna go ahead and push straight up, jumping into that stance, getting nice and centered. Chris, your weight's on your back foot, that's a tendency you got. Lean forward a little bit, keep that head up, push up, and ride the wave. You guys ready to go rip? Yeah. Awesome.
Must be happy, he must be happy, he must be happy in his world.
If you have any events that you'd like us to showcase, please email me below.
Okay guys, time for us to get out there surfing. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel and tell your friends about it. We're only gonna get better at this and we don't plan on stopping. See you next week.